this is Chris.
Hi, this is Delrita Hawks.
Hi, I'm Christine Hawks Washington. Hey, this is Lady Praise.
Hi, I'm El Presidente. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year from all of us here at Gospel 88.7 FM WEHA.
Praise the Lord and welcome to God's Will for Your Life. I'm your host and teacher, Prophet Dr. Kenny Applewhite. In the studio, I have my beautiful daughter, who we are celebrating her 12th birthday this weekend. Say hi. Happy birthday to you. She's a little blessed, little rich girl, and but she's a good kid, and I thank God for that. I just want to also inform you that we're going to be on the radio in Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Augusta, Georgia, and Greenville, South Carolina, and in North Carolina. God has opened great doors starting in January, and I'll give you the times and the day. Most of them are Sunday mornings, but God is opening doors because we got to get the word out. I'd like to talk to you about Jeremiah. We're going to start from Jeremiah 17:9. It says, the heart is deceitfully above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it but God? My topic today is the heart is desperately wicked. The Bible said that the author was Jeremiah. He was about 17 when he was called. He was the youngest prophet in the Bible. God's theme was God's inescapable judgment for unrepentant Judah, and the date of writing was 585 to 580 BC. The Bible said that Jeremiah's prophetic ministry was directed to the southern kingdom of Judah during the last 40 years of its history, from 626 to 586 BC. The Bible said that Jeremiah lived to witness the Babylonian invasion of Judah that resulted in the destruction of Jerusalem and the empires, and it was Jeremiah's lot to prophesy to the nation during the final years of its decline and fall, and his book, Understanding, filled with much gloom and foreboding. We know him as, they called him the weeping prophet or the crying prophet because he was very young, and when God called him, he told God, Lord, I'm too young for this kind of assignment. And he had a serious assignment. He was called to prophesy repentance to the children of Israel. At this time, they started serving other gods. I don't know what it is about when you read the Bible. The children of Israel are very blessed. If you know anybody from Israel today, they're rich. God has put a blessing on their life, but they would walk away from God. You know, as we know him today, I'm not rich. I'm not poor either, but I'm blessed. And to know God and to be in God and to be called by God is an awesome thing. And to serve the true and living God is a great thing. There are many gods. There's Buddha, there's Dagon, there's all kind of gods, but they're not real. But we might not never seen the true and living God, but we know that he exists. He talks to us. He talked to you verbally. Those prophets, he talked to them verbally. He'll talk in your heart. He'll talk to you through the word of God. He'll use children to sing. You going through something, kids that come around you singing, Jesus, I'll never forget what you done for me. I used to be going through and my nieces would come by singing gospel songs, but I would know that it was God. But a prophet is without honor in his home. And I'm going to tell you, being a prophet myself, it is a true statement. It's one that I do not like. I do not like it. The Bible, I'm going to get back into Jeremiah, but the Bible let us know that when people are called to proclaim the word of God, the devil is upset. He is angry. So don't be mad if you're constantly being tried, if you're being tested. I was rejected this week. I gave a word to someone and they rejected it. I had to remind them about 5 prophecies I gave them that were extraordinary. And I gave it to them during a time when I was penniless, sleeping on my mother's floor, and here God was making them wealthy and rich, and everything would come to pass, but they didn't remember it. But God is a good God, and God just said, tell them all the things I told you to tell them through the years. And I did exactly what I was instructed. A prophet is instructed to give the word of God. Whether you accept it or not, a real prophet doesn't do it for money. They're not doing it for fame, because when you're a prophet, you go through. You are highly tested. The devil is always on you. He is always sending attacks to you. Things are always happening to a true prophet, a real prophet. Most of the time, prophets are loners. They have to stay by themselves. It's like me. I don't do the phone. I have friends who are like brothers and sisters, but I only got one good friend, and his name is Bill Hawks. That is like my best friend. That's like he's and his wife. They're like my brothers and sisters, but we don't talk all the time. But I don't do the phone. I don't like talking to people. If I'm called out to preach somewhere, I just take the date and keep it moving, and God will tell me what to say. As I'm studying, he'll say, you'll meet this person, you'll see this person, tell this person that. And sure enough, when I get to the service, they're there. But God wanted us to know that if I call you as a prophet, you're going to go through. To be called and to be anointed by God, it's a price. You have to pay a price. It's going to cost you something to say yes. God is going to take you through some things when you say, I'll go. You know how when we first got saved, we fell in love with God, and we would say, Lord, I'll serve you for the balance of my life. Lord, I'll do whatever you want. I'll go. And when you started getting tested, you was like, oh, I should have shut my mouth up. But see, God already knew you were going to be tested. He knew you were going to be tried. You know, whenever you're doing a work, a great work, whether it's the radio station, whether you're preaching on the radio station, whether you're running a radio station, when you're doing it unto God, you're going to be tried. You're going to be tested. Look, in 2016, I had a stroke. I had just wrote a book, and I was coming back from Atlanta, and the next day I had a stroke. I could not walk, and I could not see for 6 months. And I told God, I said, God, just take me home. I'll just go on, let my sister take care of Victoria. And God spoke to me. He said, this too shall pass. In 6 months, he supernaturally healed me. I could not walk. I could not see. My whole right side was numb. And today I am healed. I am healed. I know God. One thing I know him as Jehovah Jireh. Jehovah Rapha. He is my healer. He has always supernaturally healed me. There was a time the devil tried to take my walking about 20 years ago. And I woke up, I could not walk. He always tried to take my legs. And one day I was crying to the Lord. I said, God, I cannot run. I couldn't run. And I just began to weep. So I went to the service, and the speaker said, I hear God saying 1, 2, 3, run. And when they said it, I started running. God had instantly healed me. God is an instant healer. I don't care what no doctor say. I don't care what the prognosis is. God has the final say, and you rely on God. If he give you now he do give us anointed hands by doctors, but if you follow God said use wisdom, follow the instructions of the doctor, and I will heal you. I will heal you. My sugar had been up this week, and I started feeling very tired and fatigued, and the Lord spoke to me this morning, and he said, you're fatigued because your sugar is out of whack. And he kept telling me, stop eating candy, and I would take little pieces of candy, just eat them all week. That was my disobedience, and I said, God, I give up candy for sure. You know, he's let me know, warning comes for destruction, stop eating candy. But I'm going to go back to Jeremiah. The book said that Jeremiah was often called the weeping prophet. He was a man with a harsh message, but a sensitive and broken heart, as his tender spirit made his suffering more intense, as his family and friends and priests and kings and the people of Judah as a whole spurned God's prophetic word. That means they rejected the word. And he was a young boy. He was 17, and he had to prophesy that God going to tear y'all up. He going to beat your hips. God is going to, he's going to turn Israel inside out. Well, what were they doing? They started serving Baal. Baal was a god that Jezebel created. She created Baal, and she created a god called Ashura. Ashura was supposed to be the goddess of the water, the fish, and everything. And then Baal is considered the god of vegetation, trees, and stuff like that. But we know that God created that. But she convinced a whole nation that this was a real God. So Israel started serving Baal. Then the crazy thing was they started serving another god called Malak. Malak was a god that they would burn their children before him. They would actually set their children on fire. That was their way of worshiping him. You see the place Israel was. You see how the devil had them so deceived, and God was angry. God was angry, and he took them to plunder. He took them down so bad that they wanted to kill themselves. If you can remember the story about Jezebel, and she had 450 false prophets, 450 false prophetess. And the Bible said that when Elijah began to call on the true and living God, he told them to call on their gods first. Remember, they were calling on their God, and he began, I'm paraphrasing, where is he asleep? Where is he at lunch? And they began to use latchets and cut their skin. That was their way of calling on their God. Look how deceived they were. There are so many people. I know someone who preaches to people that we're only supposed to read the red words in the Bible, not the black. The devil is a liar. You have to know the history of the Bible. God talks to us through the Bible. And when I confront him, I say, you deceived. I say, no, that's what God said. God ain't told you that. We need the word. We have to live by the word. We have to learn the word. We have to understand the word. Sometimes you got to pick up that Bible and say, God, speak to me. Holy Ghost, speak. And guess what? God will speak to you. So they were deceived, and people were telling me, no, just read the red words. The devil is a liar. And the truth is not in him. Oh, Shate. God is so good. The Bible said, despite great opposition, Jeremiah faithfully carved out his prophetic call to warn his fellow citizens that God's judgment was at hand. And summarizing Jeremiah's life, one writer said that he had a crushing burden. He had to sleep on one side. They wanted to kill him. The devil wanted to murder him. They would plot against him, but God would show him and tell him, they're trying to kill you. Go here, go there. They even got him where they were so mad, there were false prophets. And God told him, you go down and tell them those are false prophets. This is my word. I'm sending gloom and doom to the children of Israel. And he had to stand before them and tell them, you're lying. What they did was, this one king was, they took and digged up a ditch and put him down in there with only his head out. And so that was so he could starve to death, so the blood would be off of their hands for what they did. But how many know that God was going to save his prophet? God was going to bring him out. But God's word was true. And after a while, there was a person that got him out of that, and they put him in prison. Then later on, this king released him and gave him a free home and a free place to live. See, God rewarded him with a free life, where everything was free. He didn't owe nobody. He didn't have to pay for nothing, but look what he had to go through. That's why God said, to serve me, you're going to be tested by me. I'm going to prove your faithfulness. And one thing about God, oh my God, when God proves you, he'll bring you out to a wealthy place. The first thing he does is, before he give you the millions, he make you look wealthy. See, because he has to do that to show people. And people say, oh, they rich. Oh, look, and you might got $5 in your pocket, but God make you look rich first. Then after people see that you're blessed, then God will fill your pockets and your banking accounts up. And I see someone, and I hear the Lord saying, you want to get a house. The Lord said, get it. He said, prove me. He said, you don't have to question me anymore. Get it. It is yours. Oh, my God is real. Isn't he real? The whole time I'm teaching, the Lord is saying, tell this, it's a woman, and God is doing it for you. God is going to heal somebody's foot completely. He's going to blow your mind. Yeah, he said, stop. I hear the Lord saying, stop worrying. He's going to blow your mind. You're going to feel a special sensation running up and down your leg, and you're going to know that God has healed. You're going to be a walking miracle. You're going to be a walking testimony to people. God is an awesome God. Is he dynamite? Yes, he is. The Bible said that Jeremiah was the son of Hilkiah, and he was a Cohen. A Cohen means he was a Jewish priest. He was from the Benjamin village of Anathoth. The difficulties he encountered, as described in the book of Jeremiah and Lamentation, was prompted by scholars to refer to him, again, I say, as the weeping prophet. Like I said before, Jeremiah was called to prophetic ministry, 626 BC, by God to give prophecy of Jerusalem's destruction because they were really doing a lot of things. Like I said before, they would occur by invaders from the north. That God would always raise up a nation to take his people down. Why? Disobedience. Look, you can't sing on the choir and beat the tambourine and preach on Sunday and sleep with people and cuss and drink the rest of the week and then come back. No, you're going to pay for that. You cannot turn your back on God. Remember what God told Lot when his family left Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, whatever you do, don't look back. And what happened? The wife looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. And God is saying, you will surely die if you look back. But if God bring you out of a bad place, of a dark place, and he brings you to his marvelous light, and he saved you, sanctified you, filled you with the Holy Ghost, and then opened doors for you to preach the gospel and do everything for him, to minister to his people, and then you leave him. I can remember a few years ago, I would get up in the morning on Saturdays and I would pray from 8 a.m. to 12 in the afternoon to the Lord. And one day the Lord told me, get on the bus, because I didn't have a car. He said, go to the park in Atlantic City. I have something for you to do. And when I got there, I took a whole stack of tracts. I was giving them out, and I gave this older man, black man, a tract. And he said, God don't want me. I said, why you say that? He said, I was a big traveling evangelist, and I murdered somebody. And now I'm an alcoholic, drunk, and I'm homeless. And the Lord said, tell him if he repent, I'll accept him back. And he began to weep, and he began to cry. I'll tell you, our God is a merciful God. All you got to do is come back. If you've fallen off the train, get back on the train. God, he forgives us and forgives and forgives and forgives. But I cried on the bus because I saw how sovereign God was to this older man who was a traveling evangelist, and he had murdered someone. God is a forgiver. And he thought that God wouldn't forgive him. And he gave up on God, but God gave him another chance. And we sat there and we talked, and I had him to repent. And then I left, and I never seen the man again. But I did what God told me to do as a prophet, as a servant of the Lord. And these things he would have me to do, it would be during the times when I was broke, penniless, about to lose my mind. I couldn't find a job. I had to turn my car back in, but he had to test me. That's why I say if God called you, he has to test you. You have to be tried. You understand what I'm saying? But after you have done all that he told you to do, God, he'll open up the windows of heaven. He will pull you out a blessing where you don't have room enough to receive. A lot of times we do work for God, but we don't see the appreciation at times. But see, God stores a lot of things up. And how God does is he said, he'll just throw everything at you at one time. He'll just bless you. I remember God gave me a prophecy, a word. He said, you will never be hungry without money again for the balance of your life. I walk in that. I walk in such a great place being blessed by God because I do what he says. I do exactly what God tells me to do, you know, and I don't mind answering God. Sometimes I don't like when he tells me no, but guess what? He has another way of doing things, so that's why he said, no, not right now, not right now. Right, God tell you, not right now, but if you just hold on, wait on me, I'm going to give it to you for free. You won't have to pay for it. The Bible tells us about Jeremiah's ministry prompted plots against him. Unhappy with Jeremiah's message, possibly for concern that it would shut down the Anathoth sanctuary. The Bible said his priestly kin and the men of Anathoth conspired to kill him. Jeremiah, they wanted to kill him. He was a young boy, and they wanted to kill him. That was Satan. Satan didn't want that word out of there. He wanted those people to still serve other gods and doing these ungodly things. Can you imagine sacrificing your children, burning your children for a God that has no existence? Because someone said, this is God Malak, and we got to burn our kids at the stake. Isn't that crazy? Or we worshiping someone. They said when Elijah told them, call on your God, they called on him all day and all night. But when Elijah called on God, he told them to set up a trench. And he said, put some meat on there, a fatty calf. And he said, and fire came down from heaven, cooked the meat, and God sucked it up. God is a bad God, and they couldn't believe it. And guess what? Elijah killed all of the false prophets and prophetesses, and Jezebel came after him to take his life. But how many know that God took her life because she was a false prophetess? So be careful. Let me tell you something. When God gives you a word of knowledge, he usually tell you first, and the prophet confirms. He confirms. God will put in your spirit. He'll tell you, so you vision dreams. That's how you know. And it's usually someone that you don't know, that you never met. But that's why we got to be careful, because there are a lot of false prophets. Look at this man. His name was Applewhite, and thank God he was white, because I'm black and my name is Applewhite. He deceived about 50 people that God was coming in a spaceship, right? He had the men to cut off their genitalias, right? So they wouldn't have sex. And that night, they drank a potion that he told them to take, and they committed suicide. That was sick. That was horrifying. He was a false prophet. And in hell, you can believe, he and them lifted their eyes. Listen, I want to thank you for listening to God's will for your life. We want to let you know that if you'd like to donate to us, you can donate to Cash App, KENI Applewhite. You can donate to City of Hope Bible College at gmail.com, PayPal. You can also email us at Prophet Dr. Kenny Applewhite at gmail.com. If you need prayers, we have a prayer line phone. You can call 609-412-2465. If you need prayer, special prayer, you can email us. We're working on our website. But God is going to bless his people. Keep on believing in God and not in man. Let God give you the will for your life.
Let's go! Come on! 1, 2.
Again, I want to tell you, if you'd like to donate, like I said, we're going to be on other stations and other cities and states in January. You can donate to Cash App, KENI Applewhite. You can donate at PayPal at City of Hope Bible College at gmail.com. You can email us at prophet.drkennyapplewhite at gmail.com for prayers. We also have a prayer line. You can call 609-412-2465. Leave a prayer. If you got something you got laying before the Lord, you need me to go to the Lord for you and find out what God is saying, because that happens too with prophets, that they'll go before the Lord for you. And just let me know. We're really excited. God is expanding this ministry. He is really, really expanding this ministry. He told me it would go to nations, and we're going to be in 5 other cities in January. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome, Victoria? Thank you. That's my daughter. It's her birthday weekend, and she's celebrating. She's a good girl, and I'm very proud of her. And I thank God. I know sometimes she thinks I'm crazy because I've been talking about God all the time. But I thank God, because if I'm blessed, my child is blessed. Again, find out for 2020 what is God's will for your life. You might not be in God's will. You might be doing something that God didn't tell you to do. But pray, lay before God, fast and pray. And God is calling us to a longer prayer life. I do 3.5 hours every day with no fail from 5 to 9:30 or more. But start a half an hour, take it to an hour. God will get you up. But God said we're going to need some fasting and praying this year because he's getting ready to bless us, and Satan's going to be upset. He's going to be angry at the blessings of God in our lives. And I am really excited. The Lord told me a lot of big things were happening for his people. In the name of Jesus, he's going to be restoring credit. He's going to restore people's credit. He's going to give people A1 credit so you can get that house you want, so you can get that car you want. He's going to give you an advance on the job, and you're going to be making more money. I'm telling you, 2020 is the year of great overflow. The Lord told me it will be the year of Jubilee. The year, he said 2020 is the year of Jubilee, of great blessing. He's going to bless his people. So just hold on. I know you've been waiting a long time, but your promise is here. It is here. Just praise him for it in advance. You know, I told God I want a few things, and I just went and I said, God, put that there. Lord, put this there. We have a gift, and a lot of people don't know it. When you have a gift where you can speak things to an existence. Did you know that? I do it all the time. I told God one time, Lord, put a computer here. The next day, someone came to my house. They said, come on, we're going to put a computer there. I wanted a piano in my living room. I said, Lord, put a piano here. 2 days later, not only did God put a piano, but someone bought me an $8,000 keyboard. God is a super bad, dynamite, almighty, true, and living God. And I'm so glad I'm serving him. I am so glad. Again, see you next week. God's will for your life.
We declare we got the victory. We got the victory. We got the victory. And you can have it. And you can have it. Oh my God. You feel it? Hey. No, you can't have it. This sounds like victory. No, you can't have it. No, you can't have it. No, you can't have it. It's mine. Come on. Get your hands off. No, you can't have it. I like this part. One, two, no, you can't have it. I'm taking my joy back. Come on. Yeah. I'm taking my peace back. Come on. I want my victory. And I want it now. Come on. Y'all ready? Let's go. I've had some problems, some great and some small. You being God delivered me from them all. Still can't believe all the ways you made. Oh Lord, incredible God, Jesus, incredible. Oh Lord, I've had some problems, great and some small. You being God, delivered me from them all. Still
WEHA. It's more than music. It's ministry.
WEHA, Port Republic, Atlantic City. And now on FM translator 100.3 W262CF, Atlantic City.
This is George C.
Hi, this is Super Steph.
This is Lisa Diane Hall.
Hey, it's me, Professor J.
This is Rose.
Hey, this is Bishop John Gandy.
Hi, this is Tawana Davis.
Hi, this is Thelma Witherspoon.
Hi, this is Tamaya J.
Hey, this is Sister Girl.
Hi, this is Tehran.
Hi, this is Evangelist Lanyel.
Hey, this is Chris.
Hi, this is Delrita Hawks.
Hi, I'm Christine Hawks Washington. Hey, this is Lady Praise.
Hi, I'm El Presidente. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year from all of us here at Gospel 88.7 FM WEHA.
Coming up next, live services from Shiloh Apostolic Temple of Atlantic City, where Bishop Bilal Parrish is the pastor. For more information about our community churches or to have your services aired on WEHA, visit our website, www.wehavegospel.com, to find out more.
WEHA. It's more than music. It's ministry.
WEHA, Port Republic, Atlantic City. And now on FM translator 100.3 W262CF, Atlantic City, Pleasantville.
Yes. Look at your neighbor and say, hey.
Wake up to morning glory with gospel duo Duncan and Rachel.
Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on WEHA 88.7.
Coming up next, live services from Shiloh Apostolic Temple of Atlantic City, where Bishop Bilal Parrish is the pastor. For more information about our community churches or to have your services aired on WEHA, visit our website, www.wehavegospel.com, to find out more.
Trusting and depending on the Lord. Praise Jesus, everyone. Amen. We say praise Jesus to you, our radio family. You are listening to Shiloh Temple Apostolic Cathedral. We are located at 505 Madison Avenue and Bishop James A. Waiters Lane. You are listening to us live over WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 on your FM dial. We come to you every Sunday morning at this time, ready to lift up the name of Jesus. Hallelujah, to get our spiritual battery recharged. Amen, to get us through the week so that on the next Sunday, amen, we're able to come back into the house of God and get recharged once again. God is so good, and he is worthy to be praised. I don't know about you, but I just thank God for Jesus. Hallelujah, for the sacrifice. Who in the world would want to give their life for somebody else, knowing somebody else don't even want to be bothered with them? Jesus came that we may have life, amen, and have it more abundantly and to live eternally with him. Amen. We all are going to live eternally. It's just where you're going to spend your eternity. And I want to spend it with Jesus. Amen. We thank God even for the platform that we have, WEHA, to bring the word of God to those that are not able to make it out to the house of the Lord. Amen. I thank God even when I was out and not able to make it in, the broadcast still came forth and I was still able to hear the word of God. So we thank God even for this ministry. We thank God for our leadership, Bishop Parrish and our evangelist Mary Parrish, his beautiful wife. We thank God even for the memory of our Bishop Waiters and our co-founder Mother Waiters. Amen. Thanking God that she is still in the land of the living. Amen. I thank God even for last night we had our Gospel Fest here to benefit our Education Foundation, and God did bless. Amen. If you missed out last night, you missed a treat. Amen. But we thank God even for our First Lady who was just telling us about Mother Waiters, how she is still going. Amen. I believe she's 97. 97 years old this month. Amen, amen. And we thank God she doesn't really have any deficits. Amen. We thank God how God has kept her. Amen. And we thank God for her. We miss her. We cannot wait to see her. Amen. In the house of the Lord. At this time, we're going.
God, still doing well. This morning, we're praying for Brother Crouch. He's in the hospital. We're praying for Sister Alice Brown, praying for Sister Medalia Hitchin, that the Lord will bless and undertake. And all these names we call, how many of you know God is able? He's able this morning to do exceedingly abundantly above all we can even ask or whatever you think. God can do it. He can go above your thinking and make it right. Let us pray. Lord Jesus, we thank you this morning for life, health, and strength. We thank you for grace and mercy that allowed us to wake up. Your finger of love touched us this morning, Lord, and therefore we're in the land of the living once again. We say thank you for the blood running warm in our vein. I woke up even in my right mind. Lord, I was feeling fine this morning. I thank you for my health and my strength. How you blessed us to get here safe without any hurt, harm, and danger over the highways and byways. We entered your temple, Lord, kneel down to say thank you this morning. We praise you this morning. Lord, we thank you because you're able to bless, Lord. The names we call, we ask you to bless, set free, heal, and deliver on our sick list and our prayer list this morning, Lord. Bless each and every one, Lord, go in the prison wall, in the prison cell, Lord, and save, set free, heal, and deliver. Call somebody to have a repentant mind, even in the jail cell. My God, someone that's on the ventilator this morning, they can't breathe for themselves, my God. Put back the breath of life in their body. You can do anything but fail. Most of all, send the word with power, authority, and anointing that the captives might be set free. Undo the heavy burdens and the chains, Lord. Even undo the minds that are shambled up this morning. My God, the mind that's tossed to and fro this morning. Set the captive free and grant us peace this morning. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We do thank the Lord for that prayer that was done for my sister pastor. We thank God for the prayer, the fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. We thank God for the prayers that are going up. And we believe by faith the names for how we prayed, and sometimes we praying for the sick, and the sick walk in the sanctuary. We thank God, for we know God is able, for we live not by sight but by faith.
Yes,
in Jesus' name. And now we're going to have our scripture read from Sister Marquita Jean.
Praise Jesus. I will read St. John, the 3rd chapter, starting at the 14th verse. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believed in him should not perish, but have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God. The Lord's word is blessed in Jesus' name.
Amen. We thank God for the word of God, for the word of God is right. Everything else is going down, but we thank God the word of God is everlasting in Jesus' name. And now we're going to have a selection done from our broadcast choir. Give them a hand clap as they come in Jesus' name.
hallelujah.
Say hallelujah. It's to our God.
Glory, hallelujah.
Glory, hallelujah. It's to our God.
Every praise.